All right. Good evening and welcome to the Lewisville City Council workshop. It is 6:16. And we do have a quorum. Council, we're going to take a quick look through the agenda. We do have discussion of the consent and regular agenda items. Item C1, recognition of the AARP Backyard Cottage Design Competition winners. We'll be recognizing those folks out front. Item E, consent agenda. Approval of professional services agreement. We have the minutes, of course. Item 2 is Half & Associates in the amount of $121,000 for Timber Creek East. There are no questions. Item 3, professional services agreement with Half for preliminary design services related to Summit Avenue boardwalk improvements. Item 4, interlocal cooperation agreement with LISD for open access to public schoolyards, expanding our 10-minute walk to a park score. Item 5, interlocal cooperation between Lewisville and the City of Denton for an award of the Department of Justice Assistance Grant Funds, roughly $21,000, I believe, for first aid materials and kits for the officers, and I believe some of our fire department. Item F6, resolution of the City Council casting our 153 votes for candidates for the DCAD. Happy to have some conversation. Staff has put a vote tally out there for us. I think based on what I'm seeing on the current votes and historical numbers, I'd like to get Alex and Ann to make sure that they make the cut. I believe with Frisco being kind of the big chunk of numbers that are still out there, I think those will probably end up going to Rob Altman just because he lives up in that area and probably knows those folks best.
So this is kind of hard to see. So Alex has 664,
Yep.
Ann has 618. So there are 2 other people that have more than that. So they are number 3 and 4.
Yep.
And how many?
We've got 183.
But how many people get selected? The top 4?
5, top 5. So if you've got 650 to 700 votes, you should get in.
Are we just going to split this?
I'd like to weigh Ann's just a little bit more because Alex has got about 46 more votes than Ann does. So I'd like to kind of get them both in the same ballpark.
Can we put any votes towards Ray, given that we hold Ray?
I don't have a problem putting some votes to Ray. I just don't want to put many to him. I think it's.
I understand numbers. I think
we have.
Yeah, I think that we're just going to deplete our votes because whatever we give him is not going to make up near a difference.
And I'm okay with giving him 5 to 10 votes if we want to.
If we think that's not going to make a difference in the overall tally,
Yeah.
There's 2 that we like are they're in the 650 to 700 range already.
Yep.
I guess Ann's a little light, but
Yeah, because not all 5,000 votes get cast.
Yeah.
So right now, we're on track to be 4,300 votes, which is less than last year, which was roughly 4,500 votes out of the 5,000 that were cast.
If we
That could
should,
be
Martin,
cast.
if we just gave them something, that would be,
I'd be okay with 5 to 10.
yeah.
And I was going to say, something else to think about, if you look at some of these tallies, I've seen others that just provided one.
Yeah.
It's just, I think it was probably a symbol saying,
Well, it's a tactic.
okay,
If you have voted for a board member, then you can initiate a recall. If you have not voted for that board member, you cannot initiate a recall,
okay. That's an interesting. I
which
did
is an
not know
interesting
that.
little tactic. That's what that one can mean. It's definitely what the one from LISD means.
Yeah. That's what I'm doing.
Interesting.
So I'm okay with figuring out the math and making a recommendation on votes, but I think we need to put those between Ann and Alex just to make sure they get on.
Yeah.
I think Rob's got it. Something could happen, but I have not heard anything from Mr. Martin regarding any other votes that he thought he was going to have. So, all right. Other questions or comments on item 6? All right, and we have reports, city council and staff. We also have the semi-annual report in our packets for Capital Improvement Advisory Committee. And we do have closed session tonight.
We do.
And that is the agenda. If there are no questions or comments, we will go ahead and move into the Centennial Celebration Update. Mr. Kunke?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. And I'll be co-presenting this evening with Library Director Carolyn Booker. I do have a delicious-looking cookie waiting for me. I can't eat it until I'm done, so I might move quickly. But if I go too fast, feel free to slow me down. I want to give you a little update on the Centennial Celebration Plan. Centennial, of course, is 2025, 100 years after we became officially a city. But we are in the midst of the Centennial Celebration launch right now. Just a couple reminders of how we got where we are today. First off, every program that we're looking at, every activity, every project, meets one or more of these 5 major elements. And you'll see that they're all really geared toward engagement. The idea is we want to involve as many people as possible in this celebration in some way, as volunteers, as attendees, reading about it, hearing about it, thinking about it, just seeing it as they drive down the street. We want to engage as many people as possible to make this a true community-wide celebration, that it's not just a few people having a party and everybody else is looking in. Everybody's invited to the table at this particular activity. We also knew that city staff, we've got a great city staff, we could pull this off, but the workload is pretty high. We like to get help, we like to get input, and we want to involve the community in planning its own party. So we opened it up and we got 40 applicants. We put all 40 of them on the committee. Right now we're at about 37. We've had a few that had to step off, had a couple that were added on. So we're holding pretty steady. And we divided them into these 9 subcommittees. Some people are on 2 subcommittees. There's 1 person on 3. We discouraged 3 because 3's a lot, but they felt very confident and they're doing great. So 9 subcommittees, and we're going to go through each of those subcommittees briefly to kind of update you, really not on everything they're doing, because there's some stuff they're doing that's not going to happen for a year, and all they know now is there's an idea. But we're going to give you updates on projects that are showing immediate and current movement, especially things that are coming up in the near future. So you know what to expect as we're moving forward. And Carolyn, I believe, is going to take over at this point.
Real quick, James, are those committees all closed now, or somebody?
If somebody wanted to join, they can email us, and we'll find them a way to get involved. We added somebody about 2 weeks ago.
Thank you.
But we have made a lot of progress on the projects that we've started. So on each of these committees, we're going to show you on the slides who's participating and who's the staff liaison as well. So you can read that on the screen if you're interested in seeing who out there in the community is involved. So the first one is community partners. This is Denise Helbing's committee, and they're working. One project is to get the local schools involved in learning about our centennial and either participating in writing something about it or an art contest. So that will probably be coming a little bit later next year. And the big one that they're working on now is commissioning a play to celebrate the story of Lewisville. So they will be working with Lewisville Playhouse to find a playwright for it. That's going on right now. And then Lewisville Playhouse will direct and cast and produce that production at the Lewisville Grand Theater, and most likely in the Black Box in September. Basically, it's going to be really exciting. It's going to be a play that we own, and we could use it this year as well as in future years to celebrate Lewisville. The next committee is Education and Training. This committee is working with our students in our Lewisville ISD schools, private schools, as well as homeschoolers, really trying to write a lesson about Lewisville history for them to use in the curriculum. So we're meeting with Lewisville ISD on that, and we'll be meeting with other people. This committee also is working on doing book displays in the library to celebrate over the course of the year, so they're brainstorming on what would get people reading and learning about Lewisville, how we connect into that 100-year celebration. Next is publications. This committee is working big deal on the book. So you are probably familiar with the Marco book that took place. This will be another Marco book celebrating the history of Lewisville. And again, this is where that other committee ties in with the curriculum. This committee may also do some other printed materials throughout the course of the year. But again, the big deal is the Marco book. So we're going to use the same characters. We actually have the same authors and the same artist as we used in Marco's Big Move. This came out in 2019 for the 2025 kickoff process. And they've already brainstormed quite a bit on what to include in the book, kind of have passed that over to the artist to now make the magic of the Marco book. So that will again be coming later in fall 2025. We'll give them some time to work on making something special for us. Okay, next one is largely a Parks and Recreation initiative with Erica Tang as the coordinator. Special projects. So this one's pretty exciting. They're hoping to do a lot of tree plantings over the course of the year, an outdoor photo prop, an opportunity to get out there on social media with our residents, the Heritage Walkstone, which is coming very soon, and then we'll be working on naming the Timber Creek Trail extension to commemorate the centennial as well. So a little more details on that. The trees, we're hoping for lots and lots and lots of trees. We started with the idea of 100 to celebrate the centennial, but we may do up to 2,025 trees. We'll see what we can do. This was going to take place during several plantings, definitely on November 7th. And as soon as this weekend, we may start selling memorial trees to the community to be put into groves to celebrate the centennial. So look forward to seeing more on that. We'll also be doing a photo prop, potentially in Rogers Plaza, and this will be, something to celebrate the centennial, something to take photos with. It'll also cast our community into a good light because you can see it in the background. It could be up for just a year, but we're hoping for, depending on cost and materials, for it to last much longer than that. And then I'd love to show you the picture, but we are hoping for this to be done by Colorpalooza. So here is a rendering of what it could look like. Obviously you can sit on the lower section, you could stand in the middle to be framed by the look. It's got a version of the logo in the top right corner with a celebratory cake, and that could be removed and changed out in the future with other celebrations like Colorpalooza or Western Days. That could be just kind of attached there, something different could be attached. The other thing they're working on is getting this stone marker installed on Church Street, right on Wayne Ferguson Plaza. So this is like just an example of the one that we already have put in, and this has the stone in the background and everything. And this is what the new version will look like, just kind of a mock-up for you to see.
The new ones are white?
No, it doesn't have the stone. It's just
Okay.
just the graphics.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
just a printer proof.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm back. One thing I didn't mention, and I know this group. I know when the committees come up, you're looking at these names, trying to look for new candidates for opportunities in the future. What's really cool is about half of our committee members, this is the first time they have volunteered for a city committee or event. And we have some residents who have lived in Lewisville less than 2 years. We have some that have lived here more than 40 years or longer. I don't ask them after they get to 40. We have people all over geographically. There are Castle Hills residents, there are Valley residents, there's Vista Ridge Estates residents, everywhere around the city. So really good representation, but especially the fact that, again, half of these names, I'm still learning their names because they've never been involved with the city previously, and now they stepped up. So, finance and fundraising, very quick. Their main objective is to make sure we follow the rules. They're also there if there's a need for fundraising at some point, or there's an activity that the committee wants to do that's not in the budget and we're not able to fund it, they can go out and do fundraising, or people make donations to it, which can happen. But primarily they're there to make sure we follow all the procurement rules and all the city policies and don't get in trouble with that. Event planning, one of the biggest committees you see here. Darren Watkins is our staff liaison for that. Very active group. They're going to be active all throughout the year because one of their things is they want to have a centennial presence at the major events. Not every single event, but all the major ones. That includes having a parade float in event parades, and then also a community picnic I'll tell you about in just a minute. This is a cool citywide event that they are putting together and with our friends in PARD. So the festival presence, they didn't just want to have a booth where you can walk up and say, howdy, tell me about the centennial. They wanted to be actively involved and engaged with the residents who attend the festival. So they want to have an activity. For example, at at Western Days, they were planning to bring back the stick horse rodeo. Remember when we used to do that? That was a great thing. Kiwanis Club did that for a number of years. They're planning to bring back stick horse rodeo. And then at Colorpalooza, we don't know for sure, but there might be some changes with the Chalk This Way, just because of staffing, manpower on the volunteer side. And so this group might take over the children's chalk area. They're looking at Red, White, and Lewisville to see what activity they can do there. But they don't want to just stand around and hand out flyers, even though flyers are great. They want to actively be doing stuff, and so they found ways to make that happen. Parade float, you'll see a rendering, and this is a very simple rendering. It will be a lot more ornate than you see here. The parade float company we use is the only one within distance. One year we brought one in from Chicago. That was a bad idea. So this is the only one in this market. They do every parade that has floats in this market. And they will give you a little sketch like this, give you a concept, and then their designers go to work, and you don't know exactly what they're giving you until they show up that day. But it's also like this with enhancements. We've never been disappointed in their float. You'll see the birthday cake motif here, the 100, you'll have the Centennial logo, and Centennial committee members will be riding on that float and tossing candy, because if they don't, well then what's the point? But there will be 4 times we use this, not just Christmas this week, this Saturday, but next year it will also be out for the Cattle Drive Parade, the Homecoming Parade, and the Christmas Parade again. So we'll get good use out of that float. Got a nice discount going 4 times. And then the community picnic. This has now been scheduled for Saturday, May 17th. We don't know the exact time, somewhere in the 10 to 2 window. It might be a 2-hour, 3-hour, but somewhere in the 10 to 2 window, out at Memorial Park. Which gives us some great advantages if the weather does not cooperate, which of course we know it will. But if it doesn't, we've got the chance to move some things inside. There will be a giant birthday cake that will be inside for health reasons, because we don't want Chris McGinn hunting us down. And there will be with it a companion, smaller companion cake to be gluten-free, because we want people to feel like they can participate in this activity. You see the other things will be a live swing jazz band. There will be a popcorn vendor, the LCPAAA, the Citizen Police Academy Alumni Association, plans to be out there giving out hot dogs. But we encourage people to bring their own lunch, because one hot dog will not fill most people up once you get past about 2. So bring your own picnic. You're ready to have a great time. There will be some fun stuff for the kids to do, face painting, inflatables, the plowment, and then of course the giant birthday cake. And that's May 17th. You'll hear a lot more about it as we move closer to that day. Historical preservation, another big group. And this is where we wanted to make sure that it's not just we're saving the history for the future, but we're sharing it with the present. And we're getting people who were here for the past who are helping to move that story along. Actually, I had somebody about 3 weeks ago come in, and they had a couple of old items that they'd been holding on to for more than 50 years. And I said, these are beautiful. Thank you so much for thinking of it. I said, well, actually, I didn't want to, but my kids said, we don't want that stuff. I went to my grandkids, and they didn't even look at me. I said, here you go. And so now, those items we preserve for another 50 to 100 years. So it gives a great lifespan, and it means even if their grandkids didn't want to look at it now, in the future they can, because it will be preserved. So they're looking at photo recreations, a history video, history exhibits. You hopefully saw a very small exhibit just outside the doors here in the atrium. If not, stop by, take a look. Just a few of the more recent. We're getting something new every week now. Well, something old every week now. But these are some of the more recent additions. Historical markers, Old Town discoveries, and Lewisville landmarks. We're going to hit on several of these because this is moving fast. History exhibits, we're going to have 4 rotating history exhibits, mostly flats, which what that for exhibit space means printed items you put on a wall instead of in a case like we have outside here. There will be 4 of them rotating among locations. We know 3 locations, the library, Thrive, and City Hall. The 4th location I'm still trying to nail down, and hopefully in this next week I'll be able to do that. And you see the 4 categories there. Lewisville in the 20s and 30s, when we first became a city, looking at the census records and photos we have from that. Impacts of transportation, how people got to Lewisville and how transportation brought people to Lewisville. Planes, trains, automobiles, and covered wagons. Growth measured through aerial images. I actually I edited the script for these last 2 this week. So great aerial images from 1900 all the way up to 1977. And then numerical images. This is Lewisville in time of war. Lewisville and Denton County have responded every time there's been a call for that. And we got some great images, newspaper clips, photos that will help tell that story. There will be a larger exhibit, a long-term exhibit, based on farming and ranching. That will not debut until probably spring or early summer at the Visitor Center. It will replace the current lake exhibit. But these other 4, if I get a 4th site, will open on January 2nd or 3rd. First is the holiday, 2nd or 3rd, and then every 3 months they will rotate. So you can go see all 4 on the first day or just stand in one spot and wait till they come to you. And we do have a professional curator who's designing all that for us. So that's not a skill set I've developed. Old Town discoveries. This one's cool. So there are buildings in downtown that are not what they used to be, or they're not there anymore, but we still talk about them and remember them. You see some examples there. Lewisville State Bank, that's the 2-story brick building on the southwest corner of Main and Mill. We look at it all the time. Has not been a bank since 1955, but we still call it the Lewisville State Bank building, right? And people don't know the story behind that. On the other hand, look at First Baptist Church. Well, First Baptist Church is right over here now where 7 Mile Cafe is. And then, well, it moved around, but that was the main one people talk about. It's been gone a long time, but it's in a lot of old photos, and people still talk about the Baptist Church being there. So we've selected through the committee 10 locations. We're going to start with this self-guided Old Town Discoveries tour. They hope to add probably 10 to 12 more next summer. We're doing that research now. So these 10, they'll have a sidewalk marker. Eventually it could grow to something else, but these are sidewalk markers that are vinyls. Then you walk up, you see the marker, it tells you this is the Old Town Discoveries for Jacobson Hardware. You scan the QR code, it goes to a website that shows you photos, newspaper clippings, stories, history of that site. We'll keep adding to that over time. Right now, there's not audio component, but there will be. We're reviewing 4 or 5 different options, from recording our own all the way up to fancy schmancy AI stuff. We haven't picked one yet, but within the next 30 days, we'll have audio on these as well. And I will add, even though it's a self-guided tour, and we have a printed map we'll start giving out this Friday at the Stroll, on Saturday morning at 10, there will actually be a guided tour of these 10 sites, limited to 35 people, because you get 100 people, what do you do? But we're going to do a guided tour, and if that's successful, we might do more of those during the year. Those are landmarks. This actually was started back in 2000, 1999-2000, as part of the 75th anniversary. But I know there's 2 they put out, and then after that, apparently the placards were misplaced, so they stopped doing them. Well, we found the placards. I have 18 of them in my office. So the committee is going to open applications in January, run it through April, looking for buildings. It's going to be in the Old Town area. There's nothing that old in other places, or not many. There's a few. But older buildings that have historical significance. Somebody, significant to Lewisville lived there. Some significant event happened there. It's architecturally significant. It reflects the time period. They'll take applications January through April. We will go out and solicit applications from certain buildings that we know we want to include. This will be primarily residential, but some commercial, because the Old Town Discoveries, is primarily commercial. So this will include, for instance, the Huffines House. Already has one of these placards, but it'll be on the self-guided tour once we're done. There are people I know, I keep kind of glancing this way, who live in a house that happens to be old and have a historic person who used to live there. We might solicit an application from that. They'll do that, and then May, June, July, the committee will evaluate them. They'll select their 18. My hope is we have more than 18, so they have to do some, hard, gritty work. Their hope is they have exactly 18, so it's easy. We'll see who wins that. And then in August, planning a recognition reception at the Grand, most likely. They might move to early September depending on when the play gets performed. But we're looking at August, kind of fill a gap in the calendar, to recognize the recipients and give them their placards that look like this. They're about 8 inches across, and then work with them on how to get those installed. The understanding being you're going to be on a self-guided walking tour that says, do not try to go inside this building, go look from the outside. So you might have people walking by and looking at your house. And if you're not comfortable with that, then this probably is not for you. So, Memorabilia Subcommittee. 2 things they're working on. One is merchandise to sell, Centennial branded merchandise to sell at events, at Thrive, at the library, and at the visitor center. And the second thing is branded giveaway items. For example, we've got some stickers we're going to be giving away at Stroll this weekend. We also, at the community picnic on May 17th, we're looking at having kind of a really cool little giveaway item for the first, say, 100, 150 people who show up. And that'd be an incentive to, well, show up, but also show up early. So, and you see the list there, and that's liaisons are Dee Dee Plantis and Christina Barrera. They already have, we're going to sell these in batches. The idea with the merchandise is we don't want you to come in on the first day, buy everything, and then you're done for the year. We also don't want you to come in, look at it, and say, I'm going to wait until next year to buy it just because I feel like waiting. No, what you see on sale this weekend at the Stroll, when that stuff's gone, it's gone. If it sells really, really well, we'll buy more like it, but the second batch of materials will be different from the first batch. So they are limited. I'll point out one in particular when we hold the picture on the next slide. You'll get to see that. You see the list of what they've got for the first batch. And we're working on online sales. It's not ready yet. We'll have that available within the next 30 to 60 days. We're trying to make that happen. Here's some of the most of the merchandise. This is a collapsible pet bowl, because there's pet lovers. This is a really cool black hat with the brown leather patch on it. These are 2 mugs, a white and a green, and the green will be available at Stroll and St. Patty's. So if you like it, buy it. There's fewer of the greens than there are the whites. Whites probably available all year. And then we have rubber ducks in 3 sparkly, glittery colors, because kids like stuff too. That'll be priced where kids can buy it and enjoy it. And maybe we'll see a few of them in the Ducky Derby. We'll see how that goes. Also have shirts. Got a black hoodie here with the logo on the front. And then we have 2 different shirts. We have the charcoal gray with the logo on front and back. And we have the black shirt with the logo on the front. And this picture of the interurban station that was taken in 1927. Lewisville was 2 years old when that picture was taken. So those will be available at the Stroll on Friday is when those will first be available. Public Relations Committee. Matt Martucci and Melinda Stevens are our liaisons for that. They worked on the logo that you have seen multiple times, but also on how to deploy and use the logo. The Centennial website, and then the Been Here Business window decals. And all of these are like right now happening items. So the first one, there's the logo. There's the banner pairs that have been approved. The plan right now is to put them on all the poles on the City Hall grounds and leave them all year. To put them on the intersection poles all around the city and switch those out when we have an event. So that Centennial has a permanent visual presence, and it also reduces our cost of changing things out. The plan might be adjusted as the year goes on, but those are the pairs we're looking at for the banners. Just so you know, there's the interurban station again. This is the guy standing in front of Lewisville, First National Bank Lewisville. This is the inside of Lewisville State Bank, and this is Eileen Nowlin. She was a teacher here in the 20s before she moved away to get married. So that's going to come out. The website, it says in here, it's supposed to launch this week. Well, actually launched Wednesday. So if you were to go now to, well, when I'm done talking, and not during the council meeting, LewisvilleTX100.com, you can see the website, and we'll be adding some things to it. But things that are on there right now, there's a calendar of Centennial events that will continually change during the year, a timeline of Lewisville history by decade, a digital photo gallery by decade. So we have probably about 400, maybe 500 digital images in our collection. This is only going to have about 100 of them, maybe 130. Broken, because some of them we don't know when they were or what they are for sure. We're trying to figure that out. But it's got some good ones in there. And photos you might not have seen before. Then there's also a digital tour of our Lewisville collection physical archive, the items out front, for example. Again, we have more than 1,100 items. This is not an 1,100-page document. We're just putting selections. I think we've picked about 50 to start with, and then right now there's about a dozen. We're adding more to go along. So that'll evolve throughout the year. There will be a share your story section. People will tell us about what it was like growing up in Lewisville, or some event that happened they thought was really cool, or if they have items they want to share. If they want to donate an item because their kid said, nah, or if they want to loan us a photo or a video that we can then digitize and get them back the original to keep the digital, they'll be able to do it through that site. And merchandise sales is not there yet because the online sales version is not available, but it will happen. Business decals, this is get the business community involved, and we're actually going to be distributing these Wednesday morning here in the Old Town core. And it's a decal, this is 6 inches across, not 8. The floor thing is 8. This is 6 inches across. And as a business operator, you can use a Sharpie and write in here how many years out of Lewisville's 100 you've been in business. So Old Town Barber, 1. Beasley's, 80-something. I don't know, it's a big number. Huffines could say 98. Some people might cheat and write a big number. Well, we're not going to audit the numbers, we don't care. But they can put this, we're going to ask them to put this in their front window just to remind people the Centennial and business community has been a part of the growth of the city. And then extra projects. These are things that are not technically part of the Centennial project, but other groups in the city have added these in. So, for example, the Featuring Jazz Orchestra Society silent film. I'm excited about this. Lewisville Grand Theater was able to work this into their presenting series this year by moving some things around. And this is a silent film, The Freshman, that came out in 1926 or so, right around the Centennial year, and or the incorporation year. And they'll show that. It's very slapsticky, fun comedy. And it's a silent film, there's no talking. So in the old days, they'd have a musician, a pianist, an organist often, that would be playing the score. Instead, we'll have a live jazz orchestra playing a score as you watch the movie. Tickets are going on sale this month. This is going to be a quick seller. I'll tell you right now, it's one show on March 7th. So if you are interested in this, buy it as soon as it's available. And then projection art exhibit. The Arts Advisory Board included this in the public art work plan that you approved with this year's budget. And this is, they're working to find an artist who will do with projectors and project video onto the front of City Hall, and it will not look like City Hall anymore. If you've been to Disney and seen what they do on the front of the castle, yeah, it's not really that cool, but it'll be good. It'll be really cool, but we're not Disney. We don't have millions and millions to throw at that. The Well House conversion into Auxiliary Visitor Center, again, not technically part of Centennial, but it's perfectly timed and is historical. And that's probably in July we'll have that happen. And then Old Town Entry feature, the first one we still think is on target for a fall to winter installation. We're going to push hard to make that happen. And if we miss, but we're trying. We're taking a swing. If you don't swing for the fences, you can't hit the ball, right? Upcoming events, just to mark your calendar, and we will keep putting more about this. There's going to be a blast constantly. December 6th, 7th, the Old Town Holiday Stroll. January 2nd is when the rotating history exhibits open. January 15th is when we're going to have a very brief dedication ceremony for that stone going into the Heritage Walk across the way. It won't be very fancy. It's just going to be maybe a 20-minute ceremony and take some pictures, and then we get back inside because it's probably going to be cold. March 7th, I told you, the Featuring Jazz Society. April 1st, those rotating exhibits move to their next site. April 26th, Colorpalooza, on-site presence there, not just merchandise sales and information, but also some kind of activity. May 17th, the Centennial Picnic at Memorial Park.
Okay, quick question, James.
Yes.
I'm very excited about the drone show.
Yay.
So is that both days? And is it the same show both days?
The drone show, well, remember, Holiday Stroll on Saturday ends after the parade. So there's no nighttime activities on Saturday. It's Friday night, and for those who haven't seen, we've added a drone show, Santa's Sky Spectacular, I think it's called. And it's going to happen at the beginning of our nighttime ceremony Friday evening. So I think it's 6:15 to 6:30. It's a hard time. They've got it programmed in because they have to get clearance and approvals. And then after that, we will have the downtown light, Old Town Lights with the mayor and Santa. And then after that will be the movie in the plaza. So that's going to happen 6:15 on Friday night. We'll let people know drones are cool, but they're very directional. So you really want to be in front, and the front will be Wayne Ferguson Plaza. So very similar, same location, similar concept to the July 4th, Red, White, and Lewisville fireworks that we do. The best place is the plaza or Church Street City Hall Plaza. If you're trying to watch from somewhere off in another direction, you'll see drones and you'll see lights. You won't have a clue what they're telling you. There might be some foreign language or some alien glyphs we've never heard of.
You said there's a movie in it?
Yes, we do a movie in the plaza after the lighting. I pushed for Die Hard, but that gunfire and explosions, and late at night, and little kids. It's Home Alone, I think, is our movie, which is very Christmassy.
We could just do a Hans Gruber drop, like the New Year's ball.
I'm with that. So my cookie's calling. Are there any other questions that Carolyn or I can answer for you?
Council, any questions?
Do I?
Any questions for
I've got
the team?
Oh, yes. I've been hearing from Councilwoman Kane quite a bit.
Appreciate all the work and appreciate all the volunteers and what they're doing, and of course the staff and all their time. I'm especially excited about the community-wide picnic. I think that's a really cool.
He just wants the cake.
No, yeah, I'll
We'll
do it for you.
save you a slide. Well, and on behalf of the committee, and I think Carolyn will back me up with all the liaisons as well, we really appreciate the fact that council just went all in on this. I mean, didn't go crazy, but said, yeah, we want to do this and make it good. Don't just go out there and woo, have a little popper and drink some champagne and go home. It's a big deal.
Wait, was that on the
It is
table?
a big deal.
No, it was not. But council support is very important, and we really appreciate the fact that you're backing this. And this really is obviously a once in a lifetime thing for a city. You never turn 100 again. It's a generational thing. The employees working on this now, most of them will not be here for the 120. And none of us are here for the 200, I don't think, unless something happens in modern medicine, I'd welcome.
So far, so good.
Yeah. So this is a generational thing. The people who are involved in it are taking it very seriously as they realize the wait, this is never going to happen again, and they're a part of it. And somebody hired in 26 missed it. They got to hang around 24 years in order to get to the next one.
James, just really quickly,
Yes.
I really love the stuff that you're doing with the documenting all the history and stuff. I assume that the plan is to have that be not just throughout the whole year, but also go beyond.
Yes. Both of the tours. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, are we going to have some sort of permanent signage for?
So both the tours are intended to be, ongoing, where you can add to them anytime you want. You can make adjustments. They'll always be available. In terms of permanent markers, we're starting with something simple to see if people respond to it, if they like it, if they use it. If we look and nobody's scanning the QR code, we're spinning wheels. We've looked at doing signage up and down Main, but the density of the buildings works against us there. Because there's so many of them, if you put a pole sign at every building, then you're dodging pole signs. If you put it on the building, you got to get permission from the building owners, most of which would say sure, some of which might be a little bit more difficult. But what some cities have done, I've seen this in Savannah, I've seen this in Bar Harbor, is they'll put a gang sign, if you will, not gangs like bad, but a group sign, a clustered sign at the corner.
Nice promotion.
We're not putting gang signs around. I'm not. If you heard on the video, I'm not putting gang signs out. No, a clustered sign, kind of like you see it at shopping centers. But it would be nicer. You'd put it at, say, Main and Mill, maybe at the southwest corner of Main and Mill in front of Lewisville State Bank, and it shows a little diagram of the block. And it labels and says, in this block, you will see these cool things. And then you have to scan to read about them because there's not then a detailed sign for each one. That's something that we think is very workable. The building by building there's ways to do it, it's just harder. But no, we're way open to that. It's just going to be a post-centennial decision.
Yeah, and I would say, I think if the signage during the centennial is, I think a picture always helps get a QR code to get scanned, right? Like if it has been. I don't know if that's in the plan. I don't know if we're able to do that, but whatever we look at doing beyond that, I would hope would have lots of pictures.
Agreed. History's my gig. I love the history part, probably more than anything else. I love my whole job, but the history part for me is the fun part. That's like the sandbox. And so the intent of these tours is that we can build on them and make them better as time goes on, that make them good up front, and then work toward making them great. And so any ideas like that, we're open to them. It's just, for now, this is what the committee said, let's try this and see if people like it.
Okay.
You know
and
what?
then you can go to Ronnie Cade's house in her attic and go through all of her boxes because she's got.
She brought me a
lots
box
of
today.
pictures.
I'm just going to stay in my office. She's going to bring
You
me a
had
box.
you had the box of when we redid the well house.
Oh, yes.
Yes, all that the whole presentation is hilarious compared to now.
So yeah, I've
If
got
y'all don't know, everything was typed out and then pictures were pasted on the pages.
Yes.
We didn't have computers back.
Blue is the enemy
First
of
time.
historical archivists,
But this logo right here, I was telling Claire,
Yes.
this would be awesome for a T-shirt, and whoever bought it could write their numbers in there.
I will share that with the Memorial Committee.
But I mean, I would have one for every member of my family.
I like that. I had to drag the committee away from, they wanted to have 2 black shirts and a black hoodie. I said, listen, Lewisville's not really got a golf history. We can't just wear black. Give me some color. And they gave me charcoal gray. I'm like, well, that's a start. It's a start.
I wanted to mention that the library is looking at doing buttons with that, with the, what is it called?
The decal labels.
Decal, yeah. So you would be able to make your own button with, and type and write your number.
Yeah, I forgot about that. That's
I never had the T-shirt.
we're always looking at new ideas. My words of the committee was, if it's free and it benefits the city, the answer is probably yes. So.
Thank you, James. Anything else?
Thank you, James.
I mean, if you're looking for a name for the play, we can How the Lake Was Won. Just to,
Or lost?
How the Lake Was Won.
Or
Just
lost?
stick it to a name.
That's funny.
That's my good idea for the year.
You ready to go back to sleep, honey?
All right. With that, we are going to put this workshop in adjournment, and we will reconvene in a regular session in about 4 minutes. All right, good evening, and we're going to call this regular session of the Lewisville City Council to order. We do have a quorum. First up on the agenda tonight is the invocation with Mayor Pro Tem Patrick Kelly.
Please join me in a moment of silent contemplation. Thank you.
Deputy Mayor Pro Tem Kate.
Please join me in the pledge, United States and Texas. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. I am hearing things. Let's see. I don't hear. I can't hear.
All right. Well, I want to thank everybody for being here this evening, and tonight we have some special presentations regarding our backyard cottage design competition. We hosted a backyard cottage design competition in a partnership with the American Association of Retired Persons, AARP. Just so you know, if you are younger than 55, you can actually become a member of AARP and get a lot of great benefits. I have a friend who turned 21 just last year, and she signed up, and she's getting all sorts of hotel rebates and stuff. It's pretty awesome. So anyhow, with that, the competition here ran from August to October, and we had staff engaged in all sorts of events. So I want to thank staff for doing this. I want to thank all of our volunteers that were out there getting the word out. We had a tremendous batch of folks that came and gave us some great ideas. And I think what's really important about this project is what it will allow to have happen. A couple of years back, we went and redid all of our zoning. We made it easier for folks to do infill housing. We made it easier for people to have accessory dwelling units within their homes. And in the intervening couple of years, we've had 2 or 3 folks take us up on it. But we want more. We want more opportunities for folks to stretch, maybe have multi-generational housing, maybe have the ability to generate some revenue and still, keep their home. Maybe have their kids who've come back from college and have 3 of them living in your house right now with you. But giving them an opportunity to have a space where there's a little bit more room in the neighborhood. So a lot of different opportunities and flexibility for folks who own single-family homes in Lewisville to create more flexibility for them. And I think it's a wonderful tool. But it's also kind of intimidating to figure out how to build a tiny home and what are all the rules associated with it, and come to our planning department, who are amazing people and so generous with their time and available. They make this really easy, but it can be intimidating. So to be able to come and say, hey, look, we have a bunch of different options that are fairly turnkey once this project is done, to be able to say that to our residents and give them a place that they can go on the website and see what it would look like and how it would work, I think that's wonderful. And I want to appreciate everyone who took the time to create that opportunity for your fellow Lewisville residents. And you know what? Other cities are going to be looking to us about how this worked, and they're going to try and replicate it, I'm sure. Of course, we had amazing judges, so thank you all for your time, for all of our judges who were there. And we'll go ahead and take a look at the following. I think we've got about 10 different awards, but not everybody is here, so we'll go ahead and move on. So here we go, our design winner for the youth category. And if you are here, come on up. We have Wendy McBreen. So here's Wendy's backyard cottage design. So very exciting to see that one. Lots of fun. Come on up, sweetie. Thank you. Appreciate you. Now, if you would, just come on over this way. We're going to do a picture after. So, great job. Nice parenting, making her solo. That's awesome. Love it. Got to build that independence young. All right, next up we have Shane Duggan. And this is our student category. Shane, if you mind coming on up here. This has got a little Mickey Mouse vibe. It's really cool. I love it. A lot of curves and designs. If you wander back that way, that'd be awesome. Thank you, sir. Next up, we have Cheryl Vaca, and she is our adult category. Oh, I dig this. I can't wait to see these. Did we lose Cheryl? All right.
We might have. That's okay.
That's all right. We'll make sure to get her award. Next up, we have older adult category, Lynn Lucier. Or as I would prefer to say, seasoned adult. Lynn, thank you so much. Appreciate you. And if you can kind of wander back. We have our design student, so somebody who's going to make changes in the world like this all the time. So Shane Pellerin, I hope I got that right. Shane, do we have you here? This one's neat with the sliding panels, it looks like. That's very cool. Appreciate it. Thank you. Great team effort. Awesome. Team Shane. I love it. Next up, we have David Lawson, design professional, with the Flex ADU. Love it. Lots of shade structures in that one, which I love, the overhangs. Next up, most creative, we've got Cooperative Works. And they are not here this evening, but as you can see, something kind of a little Frank Lloyd Wright with the bricks going on there. And then we've got a little mid-century modern look here with Most Accessible with Randy Saffel. Thank you, Randy, for that. And then we've got Most Sustainable with a rooftop garden, obviously there, and that's Robert Miller. And then People's Choice, we have Peyton Perkins. And you can see here we've got elevations all in there. I wish I had these drawing skills. Peyton, you're awesome. And as you can see, even with a tiny home with 700 square feet or so, you have a tremendous amount of flexibility and design choices that you can put into your neighborhood, something that would match or maybe even stretch the design capacity of your home and your space. So hopefully a lot of folks will take some inspiration by this. But let's give all of our award winners a great big hand. Well, thank you all, and we hope to see all of your designs actually built. I think it'll be awesome. So, y'all have a great evening. Thank you. Gotcha. All right, so we were supposed to have pictures up behind me, which I never noticed because I was looking that way. But we will have these designs up on the website, and we're going to try and slide them up here momentarily if we can do it quickly. If not,
Can you do it? No.
If not, we'll make sure to put them on the website. Y'all can take a look there. But they are wonderful designs. They're really cool. I hope that my descriptions of them actually help you visualize them, but I doubt it.
Yeah, I need moments. Yeah.
All right. I think we're going to give up on that particular technology for the evening, but rest assured these will all be on the website. We're looking forward to that. All right, next up, item D, Visitor Citizens Forum. Speakers must address their comments to the mayor rather than to individual council members or staff. Speakers should speak clearly and state their name and address prior to beginning their remarks. Speakers will be allowed 5 minutes for testimony. Speakers making personal, impertinent, profane, or slanderous remarks may be removed from the meeting. Unauthorized remarks from the audience, stamping of feet, whistles, yells, clapping, and similar demonstrations will not be permitted. In accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, the City Council is restricted from discussing or taking action on items not listed on the agenda. Action can only be taken at future meetings. I do not have any comments or comments for Visitor Citizens Forum. That's for specific. I'll just bring it to a specific. And since they probably are all on consent, we'll go from there. All right, next up on the agenda is consent agenda. All the following items on the consent agenda are considered to be self-explanatory by the council, be enacted with one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member or citizen so requests. For a citizen to request removal of an item, a speaker or e-comment card must be filled out and submitted to the city secretary. We do not have any comments to remove items. We did have an e-comment from Derek James asking about the professional services agreements with Half and Associates, and I recommend that staff reach back to the individual about any comments on that.
We already have, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. With that, council, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Council, if you please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Item F, regular hearing, consideration of a resolution of the City Council of the City of Lewisville, Texas, casting the city's 153 votes for candidates to serve on the Denton Central Appraisal District Board of Directors. Let's be clear, it's not Denton County, it's Denton Central Appraisal District Board of Directors, providing for submittal of same to the chief appraiser and providing an effective date. The City of Lewisville is being asked to cast its votes for the Denton Central Appraisal District Board of Directors. Lewisville is allocated 153 votes and may cast all of them for a single candidate or divide them among candidates as council so determines. Since numerous ISDs control the larger blocks of votes, it is very difficult to predict where Lewisville's votes would be best used. However, it is generally more effective to cast the votes as a block rather than dividing them up among candidates. Dividing the votes can dilute the impact. Votes are due by December 15th, 2024, and it is City Council consideration. It was recommended that the City Council consider the resolution as set forth. Council had been doing a lot of the math and been looking at various spreadsheets. If we give 96 of our votes to Ann Pomacall and 50 of our votes to Alex Buck, that will put the two of them even, and I didn't do the math on that, but that puts them at 710 or so votes apiece. So 650 to 700 typically gets you elected in this vote. I would also recommend that the remaining 7 votes that we have, we place with Ray Martin. He's a Lewisville resident that worked hard to go out and get votes, and doesn't look like he's going to make the cut, but he definitely made a difference out there.
Mayor, can you repeat?
96 votes for Ann Pomacall, 50 votes for Alex Buck, and 7 votes for Ray Martin.
How many? I'm sorry, the last one?
7.
7. For,
Ray Martin.
oh, there he is. Okay.
But of course, I'll take any other recommendations from council.
Mayor, I believe those are good recommendations. So I move to approve the resolution casting the votes for the Denton Central Appraisal District Board of Directors as follows. 96 votes for Ann Pomacall, 50 votes for Alex Buck, and 7 votes for Ray Martin.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Council, please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, council. Item G, reports. Reports about items of community interest regarding which no action will be taken. So we have our city council and staff reports. I think we'll start to my right. Councilmember Meredith?
Yes, I've got some library activities for the week. Zine Scene for adults, Wednesday, December 4th, 6:30 to 7:30. Crawford Meeting Room, registration is required. Teddy Bear Sleepover for all ages, drop off Friday, December 6th, 3 to 4:45. Pickup Saturday, December 7th, 11 to noon. Bennett Program Room, no ticket or registration required. Friends of the Library Book Sale Presale for all ages, Friday, December 6th, 4 to 7 p.m., the Glenmore Savage Community Room. And Friends of the Library Book Sale for all ages, Saturday, December 7th, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., Glenmore Savage Community Room. And that's all I've got.
All right. Thank you, sir. Councilmember Troyer?
Yes, I have a number of items for the Grand Theater during the next couple weeks. First of all, Will Hearn's Grand Old Christmas Show presented by the City of Lewisville on December 7th. The Nutcracker Suite presented by the Joffrey Ballet School on December 13th. Children's Magic Show with C.J. Johnson presented by the Lewisville Masonic Lodge on December 17th. And as always, the Acoustic Jam Sessions Friday night presented by the Visual Art League of Lewisville from 6 to 9. And then there are a number of activities coming up. First of all, the biggie is the holiday stroll this coming weekend, December 6th and 7th, presented by the city of Lewisville. There's a lot of stuff going to be going on in Old Town this weekend, so encourage everyone to come out and participate and watch the activities, including a drone show and Santa Claus and the mayor lighting the Christmas tree.
That's what I hear.
Neighborhood Grant Workshop presented by the City of Lewisville, December 17th. Body Weight Boot Camp presented by Case Cortez, Thursdays in Wayne Ferguson Plaza. That goes through December 19th. And then there are 2 exhibitions in the Grand, The Gift of Art, an art sale exhibition presented by the City of Lewisville that runs from December 6th through the 20th. And then Small Gifts presented by the Visual Art League of Lewisville through December 27th. And that is my report.
Thank you, sir. City Attorney, City Secretary, Planning, ED, Streets, Parks.
Just the lake report, 84.9% full, 518.72 feet.
In other words, we're going to need some rain.
Pretty soon, yeah.
Yeah. All right, Jim? Chief?
It's that time of year again. As we celebrate the holiday season, we'll follow up the Old Town Holiday Stroll this weekend with the fire department taking Santa around beginning Monday, December 9th. So next Monday, a week from today, we'll hit the streets with Santa. We'll release the Santa tracker on our website and on social media this week, and so people can follow and see where he's at as we go.
Awesome. Chief?
So excited to reiterate about the drone show. I'm super excited about that. We've talked about that for a couple of years. I know Claire and I have talked about that a bit. So very excited about that. Get your spot on the in Wayne Ferguson Plaza for the best viewing. The parade on Saturday. Looking forward to seeing everybody at the parade. That's going to be fantastic as well. So as Councilmember Troyer mentioned, so much stuff going on in Old Town this weekend, both Friday and Saturday. Please make it a point to get down there. Lots of great stuff to do.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. Councilmember Green?
I was just going to remind everybody that our animal shelter is very full. And as we get closer to the holidays, there's a whole bunch of new best friends waiting for you there, looking for a home. So if you are looking for a puppy or a kitten or anything else in between, please go down to the animal shelter and get a new friend.
Thank you. Councilmember Jones?
No report, Mayor. Just looking forward to the holiday season. Hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving, and we'll have a great holiday season, whether you celebrate Hanukkah, Christmas, or Kwanzaa.
I'd like to say ahead of time, all the staff, I know how busy y'all are going to be this week and stuff, but this is one of my absolute favorite time of the year, especially in Old Town. So we look forward to seeing everybody out there, and stay safe until then. And you might think about, if you can't actually adopt one, you might want to think about fostering until we can get them adopted. And so that's always an alternative, but we're busting at the seams. And I'm telling you, I ended up with Ruby, and that was the last of my council videos there. But it was one of the best things that we did.
Thank you. I have nothing else either, so we're going to go ahead and move into closed session. In accordance with Texas Government Code, Subchapter D, Section 551.071, consultation with attorney, legal issues related to the amendment of land use regulations, including but not limited to special use permits and other zoning text amendments for manufacturing, light intensity manufacturing, medium intensity manufacturing, heavy intensity, and warehouse distribution facility uses. Section 551.072, real estate property acquisition. Section 551.087, economic development, deliberation regarding economic development negotiations. City Council reserves the right to adjourn in closed session anytime during the course of the meeting, discuss any of the matters listed above as authorized by Texas Government Code, Section 551.071, consultation with attorneys. We will adjourn into closed session and reconvene when we're done.
Can you say that any faster, please?
I'm trying.
I think you're going a little
All right, we are back from closed session. As there's no further action to be taken on tonight's agenda, we stand adjourned.